Hi guys, I am finally back again. Coronavirus has had a lot to say about life the last few months, but didn't forget about these videos. It's just been a challenge to get them done. So today's video, I think the last one I put out focused on some of the things that you're going to need in your kitchen when you are first starting out, so like your dishes, some of your basic pantry staples, things like that. If you haven't watched that, that can kind of build on this a little bit, especially when we talk about the different foods and things in this one. So what this is meal planning for one. Frequently in treatment, I will ask people, you going home to a family or is it just going to be you? And very frequently, 2/3, sometimes even 3/4 of the time, it's just going to be an individual. So it's a very important skill for me to address, to talk about meal planning for one, because it's hard. Like, I don't know, there's something about that. When it's just you, it's a lot harder to, sorry, I'm sitting on my bedroom floor today. It's a lot harder to want a meal plan for just yourself. You figure, oh, I can eat out, which you can. And, maybe it's not even a terrible price. But what kind of foods are you getting if you eat out and you're not paying very much for it? Frequently, we're getting things like hamburgers and fried chicken and anything dunked in oil. We're consuming a lot of soda, things that are very high in sodium, typically high in saturated fats as well. So those foods are delicious and we enjoy them, but it's not the best way to eat in general, not just for your weight, but for your mental health too. If you're frequently not getting enough, B vitamin or iron or calcium or vitamin C in your diet, you're going to have nutritional deficiencies. You're going to feel worse. We know when we're not eating well, it can increase mental health issues. So things like depression and anxiety can come up more. If we're consuming a lot of sugars, it can also, and caffeine as well, it can affect our sleep or our anxiety levels. We can feel very lethargic, so we can have sugar crashes too. So eating out is a part of life, and we should do that. But that shouldn't be what we rely on. We should cook a lot of our food at home because it is better for us. So what this is, and hopefully I figure out how to link it to this video. I, not YouTube savvy yet. Gotta figure that out. Oh well, whatever. So what this is a handout that I discuss when I am teaching about meal planning, and it deals with meal planning for one. I think the best way to do this is really going to be to read through it. I tried doing this video where I kind of went off the cuff, and I feel like I missed too many important points. So I'm sorry if it looks like I'm reading a paper most of the time. I am, because I did a good job here, and I think it'll work. So, okay, here we go. First tip on here is to plan to cook. This is a form of self-care. Make time for you. Many meals can be made in 15 to 30 minutes, and this gives us an excellent opportunity for daily mindfulness through the use of our senses, as well as giving us the opportunity to nourish our bodies with good foods. So an example that I give on this is preparing fajitas. They take about 15 minutes, start to finish, and I kid you not, this is like our go-to meal at my house because it is so fast, even when the chicken is frozen. In those 15 minutes, you have the opportunity to feel and smell the ingredients as you're cutting them. You can hear and smell the cooking of the peppers and onions, and you have the visual of both the cooking peppers and what the finished product looks and tastes like. If you really think about that, fajitas are a really cool meal to do that with. It's very colorful. There are a lot of different textures going on. There are a lot of scents. And it's pretty simple. Like the way that we do fajitas in my house, I think I put a video up. It's probably not a very good one. I need a cameraman. It's kind of hard to record cooking videos when you're your own cameraman. So anyway, ours, I just take a little bit of olive oil in the bottom of the pan, and I cut up chicken, peppers, onions, and I use taco seasoning. That's it. That's it. So I will throw my diced chicken in first. I will season that. And then in a couple minutes, I'll throw in the peppers and onions, and within 10-15 minutes, I've got a whole meal on the table. You serve it with a few tortillas, and we like sour cream, salsa, and cheese. And yeah, you basically have a complete meal. And for us, we don't even need a side dish. Fajitas are enough. Excuse me. Oh, chicken. I'm like, there's a point here. If you don't like handling chicken, this is just like some random little tip here. If you don't like handling raw chicken because it can be slimy and the texture is kind of funky, go ahead and cut it up when it's half frozen. It has a much better texture. It's not as slimy when it's that way. And it has a much firmer, nicer texture to cut through, and it will still cook just fine. It takes a couple extra minutes, but it's very negligible if the texture of chicken bothers you. Okay, number 2, plan your meals. There's nothing that wastes more money than not having a meal plan. You will easily double or triple what you spend on food if you do not plan your meals, because you are much more likely to impulse buy items, buy more specialty items, etc. You are also a lot more likely to end up with food waste. You can meal plan on paper or with software. If you are cooking more complex dishes or a lot of dishes, software is often an easy and very cost-effective way to keep track of what you need to buy. Something that we do at my job is I keep a subscription. It's a very cheap subscription. It's $5 a month to a website called Plan to Eat. They're not endorsing me for this, nothing like that. I've used this since I started in this position, and I adore the software. And as I've transitioned away from cooking and we have our clients doing more of the cooking, they still love it. Because what Plan to Eat is it's meal planning software. I wish I could show you a video of it, but if you go to the website, they have a tutorial. Basically, I go to Pinterest and I pick pretty pictures that look simple enough to cook, and I import them into the budget. Man, it's like 10:30 at night, and I'm tired. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I import those into Plan to Eat. And then I just look at my week. I'm like, okay, well, Monday I'm putting fajitas, and Tuesday I'm putting spaghetti, and Wednesday. And I put all this together, and I tell each of these recipes how many people I'm cooking for, whether it's 1 or 25. A lot of my recipes are for 25, but you can do them for 1. It's awesome. I love that about the software, is it'll just adjust how much you need. And then you tell it to make a shopping list. And that's what it does. So it plans for you, it has the recipe saved for you, and it plans your shopping list. And if you're able to combine ingredients, so say 3 meals take chicken, it'll actually tell you like, oh, you're going to need 4 pounds of chicken for all of this instead of having individual meals. Like, I just love it. I encourage the meal planning software, but it's okay to do it with pencil and paper too, whatever you feel more comfortable with. Okay, tip number 3, leave some wiggle room in your meal plan to eat out. This is America, and we love our food, especially if we don't have to cook it. Very true. Very, very true. So think about how you eat and decide what's practical. Do you really plan on eating at home 3 meals a day, 7 days a week? No? Then make sure you've budgeted for some times to eat out, or at least are keeping a frozen pizza on hand for the days when you're determined not to cook. Like, we all have them. I come home some days and yep, fajitas take me 15 minutes, and I don't live in town, and it's going to take me 45 minutes to go and get food, but I'm going to do it. I'm not cooking. I'm determined not to cook. So I just do what I can to make sure that I've made room for that. It's okay, you know, and it works a lot better if we budget for it and decide how much we're wanting to spend on that and give ourselves permission. It's kind of like dieting. If you continually tell yourself no to something, you're going to do it. And it's America, really. Like, we like food here, and we like it when we don't have to cook it. So let's budget for it. Number 4, think like Taco Bell. Fewer ingredients, more combinations. Taco Bell uses about 30 ingredients to make the majority of its lunch and dinner menu items. They use ingredients that can easily be used in other items. We have the ability to do this in our own homes. Ingredients like peppers, onions, broccoli, chicken, hamburger, plain pasta, plain potatoes, and rice can all easily be altered to fit different meals. An example would be that you can grill chicken breasts with some salt and pepper and have 1 meal of barbecue chicken, then use some in fajitas, then do something with chicken and rice, and still have some left over to make quesadillas or to toss them with some pasta and veggies or in a salad. Plain ingredients work far better than special ingredients for this. An example is that a bag of plain white rice that costs $1 can be made into pilaf, fried rice, Spanish rice, rice with milk and cinnamon sugar, etc. However, if you spent that same $1 on a box of Spanish rice, like, you get like 2 servings out of it, and that's it. So yeah, when possible, use more plain ingredients, use more basic ingredients like plain pastas and things, and season them from there. And we're going to talk about seasonings in just a minute. How about that? It's actually the next point on this. Have a well-stocked spice cupboard. Keep herbs and spices that on hand that you like. Many are available in dollar bottles that last a long time. Spices don't necessarily go bad. They just lose their potency over time. So you can have some 10-year-old cinnamon and you can still use it. It's just not going to have as strong of a flavor as it did when you first bought it. If they get wet though, do throw them out. I don't know, I'm sure some of them don't mold, but just don't use wet spices. Okay, some good basic ones to have on hand are salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, chili powder, cumin, oregano, parsley, Italian seasoning, and chicken bouillon. Everything on this list can be purchased for about $12 and it lasts months. You know, for some people it lasts years. I think I still have a bottle of ginger from when I first moved out of my mom's house like 15 years ago. That's what I mean about spices still being good. Just probably throw it away. It doesn't have much flavor left. Okay, plan meals that create leftovers that you're willing to eat again. So work week is what I'm thinking of when I wrote this one. It's only worth having leftovers if you will eat them. Don't make a lot of something if you don't think you'll eat any more of it. Most leftovers can also be frozen. Just be sure to get as much air out of them as possible and wrap them up well. Wrapping leftovers up as a complete meal gives you a homemade TV dinner for later too. So yes, no point making 6 pounds of lasagna if you're only going to eat one serving. Something that's kind of counterintuitive, I think that's the word we can use here, when you're meal planning for one, is sometimes it's worth paying more for a smaller portion than it is for a larger quantity. And we'll get a little more into that, but that's how it is with your leftovers. It might seem like a good idea to have a giant batch of spaghetti, but is it really if you're not going to eat it again? So just consider that. Like, I'm weird. I will not eat leftover beef. It doesn't matter. I hate all leftover beef. So I never prepare anything that will give me leftovers with beef, because anything that's left after that meal is just going to be wasted. Okay, only buy the things in bulk that you will use quickly enough. 25 pounds of chicken sounds like a great deal until it's sitting in your freezer 6 months later and you have to throw out 15 pounds of it. Same goes for produce. Only buy what you're going to be able to use. It's very easy to end up with a lot of waste when you're cooking for one. So it kind of goes along with the leftover thing. If you like chicken, but you're not actually going to eat it like 3 times a week, probably not worth the 25 pounds. Chicken in your freezer is good for about 3 to 6 months. Technically it's good longer. We get into some weirdness with that. The flavor, good flavorful chicken is good in your freezer for 3 to 6 months if it is well wrapped. Any longer than that and you start losing the flavor of it and it starts tasting like your freezer. So only buy what you know that you're going to use. And again, even if it's a little more expensive. So a pound of hamburger is, what did we pay the other day? Let's say it's about $4 a pound. I think it's slightly less than that for a 1 pound like chub of hamburger. They sell a 10-pound one that drops it to $3 a pound. So I'm saving $1 a pound, except that what the hell am I going to do with 10 pounds of hamburger? Like, I don't know, eventually eat it. We might go through that here. I don't know. Anyway, yes, be sure that you're going to go through enough of it. It's not necessarily a good deal to buy a Costco box of anything if it's just going to go to waste. Okay. Store things in individual portions. So go ahead and buy that 5-pound bag of chicken breast if that's going to be the most cost effective. But then break it down into single servings in freezer bags. Sure, it does cost a few cents for Ziplocs, but it costs a lot less than wasting 3 pounds of chicken. It's also just as easy to pull down 3 or 4 servings of chicken as it is one, so don't worry that it'll make it harder to cook for guests. Best thing, we do that at home all the time. I put things in, we have 3 of us here, so I usually group things in 3. But if I'm not sure that I'm going to use a lot of it, I will put it in smaller portions because it gives me a lot more flexibility. I'm able to use less of it. I'm able to just cook for myself. I'm able to pull more down if I need it. And Ziploc bags are not very expensive, and buying a box of those will cost you less than wasting a pound of chicken. Okay. Invest in food storage containers. Invest in food storage containers that hold individual portions. This can mean buying Ziploc bags, disposable bowls, Tupperware, whatever you're most likely to use. So I'm terrible with reusable bowls. I hate reusable bowls. I'll use them and they'll rot in my fridge and I'll throw them away and I won't eat the leftovers out of them, and it's just my life. It's just what I do. So a lot of my food gets stored in Ziploc bags because then I can just pour it out onto a plate or whatever I'm doing and throw the bag away, and I don't have extra dishes make sure that whatever storage containers you buy are going to give you that luxury of you being able to use them in a, how am I trying to say this? We are creatures of convenience. We like things to be easy. Buy what is going to be easiest for you because you are going to use what is easiest. It's great that they sell all these pretty glass containers and stuff, and you know, it is better for the environment, but only if you're going to use them. So buy what you are going to use. Buy what is really going to genuinely encourage you to do things in individual portions and make it useful for you. When you meal plan, make a list of what you have on hand first and plan based on that. Don't just rely on Pinterest pictures of food to plan all of your meals. See what you already have, especially if finances are extra skinny. Oftentimes we have more on hand than we think and can turn a $75 shopping trip into a $20 one if we can effectively use what we already have. So what I mean by that is, we were talking about the chicken earlier. So if you know that you have 2 extra pounds of chicken in the freezer, do something that uses some of that chicken up. If you know that you have a bag of spinach in your fridge, try to use it up. If you have half a container of sour cream, consider that when you're doing your meal plan and see if you're able to use those first, because any of those leftovers that you're going to be able to use gives you more money for either other things or makes your grocery budget smaller, whichever is your goal. Number 11 on this, I think I have 14 points. This one is number 11. Consider what's on sale when meal planning. You don't need to look through the whole grocery ad, but pay attention to what's on sale on the front and back pages of a grocery ad. So yes, if you have paper grocery ads, or even if you look at them online, the best deals for meat and in general will be on the front page, and the best deals for produce are typically on the back page. The middle is fluff. Some of the things are a few cents cheaper, but they're not like the bargain deals. The bargain deals you're going to be able to find on the front and back page of an ad. So if you're limited on time and you're looking to only plan with the best deals out there to offer, don't even worry about the insides, just front, back of an ad, done. Number 12, if you know you're an impulse shopper, place your grocery order online. There is a lot of money, time, and research that goes into product placement in stores. Those Reese's cups and potato chips aren't placed where they are by mistake. They're in a place where the store knows you're likely to buy them, especially if you're an impulse shopper. Many stores offer free grocery pickup. Not only does this keep you away from most impulse shopping, it also allows you to have a very good idea of what that total at the end of your shopping trip will be. If you still decide you'd like to be the one shopping for your groceries, that's okay too, but bring a list and do your best to keep a tally of what that visit is costing you. When you see those numbers add up on the side of your grocery list, we're a lot more likely to avoid buying things we don't need. So yes, in a grocery store, have your list, write your totals next to it, and keep a running total. You know, for me, as soon as my grocery bill starts hitting around like $100, I'm like, do we really need that? Online shopping is nice too, because you get a total. Sometimes it's spot on, but it's usually within a few dollars. So, you know, you're on the Walmart site or whatever, Smith's, wherever you want to shop, and you're adding things to your cart, and you're able to watch on the other side of the screen as that total goes up. And you'll have a very, very good idea of what you're spending. Okay. Consider meal delivery services. If this sounds like too much right now, so if all of this, if everything I've just stated sounds like too much right now, but you want to start going in the right direction and are able to pay cash for your groceries, consider meal delivery services like EveryPlate, Blue Apron, etc. These are meal delivery services that prepackage everything you need for entire meals. Are they as cheap as planning and shopping for yourself? No. Are they more reasonable than the price of eating out? That depends on what you're eating. Most of these meals cost between $5 and $10 per serving, but they give you the ability to build your cooking skills while also eating nutritionally complete meals. So again, these are EveryPlate's at the cheaper end, where it's about $5 a meal, and then you get up into Blue Apron and stuff, which is closer to $10 a meal. Cool thing about these meal delivery kits is they've done the shopping for you. It comes in exactly the portions that you want. You've picked pictures and they deliver it to your door, and like you have everything to make the picture. They usually come with step-by-step instructions. It is an excellent way to build your cooking skills, because sometimes, gosh, I don't remember, there was one of them where I had to like deglaze a pan or something, and it was a newer skill for me, and it was cool to learn that. I think it was deglazing, whatever. Anyway, so you get the opportunity to try new foods, to try new skills, and somebody else did the shopping for you. It's great. You know, is it a $5 combo from, gosh, Carl's Jr., McDonald's, or whatever? No, it's not. It is a little bit more than that. But again, you're getting that nutritionally complete meal. You're getting a meal that contains very few preservatives, that's good for you, and that's also able to build your skills in addition to presenting you with a variety of foods. Last one, don't be afraid to rely on one another. This is something, I don't know, I feel like we struggle with in America. It's kind of an every man for himself game here, and sometimes that's not the best way to do it with food. Not everyone is comfortable with this, but sometimes the best way to create cheat meals is to create a supportive community that helps meet the needs of one another. Always consider food safety when doing this, but if you have a trusted group of friends, sometimes it's a lot cheaper to prepare food together where each person contributes what they can, ultimately creating fuller meals for everyone involved. An example would be that someone happens to have 20 pounds of chicken, someone else has 50 pounds of potatoes, and someone else has a lot of frozen vegetables. Without spending anything, it's possible for these people to get together and create several meals while spending very little on food. So, you know, as families, we can even do this. I remember talking to some people, and that's how they would do it. Somebody had pancake mix, and, you know, they were older people I was talking to. So somebody had butchered a hog and they had extra sausage, and you know, you kind of come together as a community and you create full meals for one another. Not for everybody, no, but it is a really cool thing, and it's helpful in a variety of ways. We get fed better, we feel better cared for, we get to contribute more, and we get that cool benefit of friendship and camaraderie and closeness that comes with it. So these are just some considerations. There are definitely more things that can be done. These are just the ones that I came up with and that I teach on regularly, and usually we open it to discussion and people suggest a lot of other cool ideas too. Yeah, so hopefully that helps. And if you'd like me to expand on the topic, let me know.